The night fell with an unnatural heaviness, the sky churning dark clouds that threatened the world with their weight. Thunder rolled in long, resonant waves, shaking the earth and rattling the trees, while jagged forks of lightning split the sky, revealing a countryside transformed into a chaotic nightmare. I had been driving along a desolate road when I first saw the mansion perched atop the hill, its silhouette looming against the stormy horizon. The locals had whispered about this place for years, an abandoned estate, left to decay, haunted by a darkness older than memory itself. I had scoffed at the stories, labeling them mere superstition. Now, with the rain lashing my windshield and the wind howling like a living beast, I wondered if my arrogance would be the last mistake of my life. The iron gates creaked violently as I approached, swinging open as if guided by invisible hands. Every instinct screamed for me to flee, yet the storm left me with no choice. My boots sank into the mud along the winding gravel path, and I realized the road had disappeared behind me, swallowed by sheets of rain. The mansion loomed closer, each step feeling heavier, as though the air itself resisted my passage. Lightning flashed, revealing broken windows and gaping holes in the walls, and the sight sent a shiver down my spine. I reached the front door and pushed it open. It groaned, and the cold, damp air inside hit me like a physical blow. Inside, the mansion smelled of rot, damp wood, and a metallic tang I could not identify. Blood, perhaps, or something older, something worse. The grand hall was cloaked in darkness, with only occasional lightning illuminating the room. Dust-covered furniture lay in disarray. Portraits hung crooked on the walls, their painted eyes seeming to follow me, glinting in the faint light. A low moan of wind swept through the broken windows, carrying whispers so soft I almost dismissed them. "Stay, stay with us." The voice was ethereal, yet unmistakable, echoing in every corner of the hall. I moved deeper into the mansion, each step hesitant. The stairs groaned under my weight, their wooden planks warped and splintered. Lightning struck again, briefly illuminating the corridor ahead. Shadows darted at impossible angles across the walls, stretching like living things. The whispers grew louder, overlapping into a chaotic symphony of voices, pleading, mocking, commanding. "You cannot leave. The storm brought you here. Stay." Fear tightened around my chest, but I could not stop moving forward, drawn by a force I could neither see nor resist. At the top of the staircase, a long corridor stretched ahead, lined with closed doors. Each door seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting subtly, like lungs of the mansion itself. Lightning illuminated a single room at the end, revealing a figure, hunched and motionless, its face hidden beneath long, dripping hair. I froze, sensing its gaze even though its features were impossible to read. The whispers became screams in my mind, overlapping, relentless. "Join us, or stay forever." I forced myself forward, my hands shaking as I reached for the doorknob. The door swung open, pushed by an invisible force. Inside, the room appeared empty, except for a large mirror mounted on the far wall. My reflection stared back, but it was wrong. Its eyes were black, hollow, and the corners of its mouth stretched into a grotesque, unnatural smile. The whispers intensified, now layered and urgent. "Drink? Join us. Be part of the storm." The wind outside battered the mansion, rattling windows and sending the remaining glass shards skittering across the floor. The storm roared louder, and I felt the building itself shifting around me. A hallway behind me stretched impossibly, doors multiplying, corridors bending in ways that defied logic. Every path I tried led me back to the same mirror, the same hollow-eyed reflection, the same whispering voices. I ran blindly, tripping over splintered floorboards, my hands scraping against wet, decaying walls. Hours, or perhaps days, passed. Time had no meaning here. The storm outside never ceased, each flash of lightning illuminating horrors I could not comprehend. Shadows became figures, drifting through the rooms and hallways, gliding without sound, faceless, yet aware of my presence. The whispers had merged with my thoughts. They knew my fears, my secrets, my regrets. The mansion was alive, thinking, breathing, feeding on terror. I stumbled into the library. Books lay scattered across the floor, their pages torn and wet, ink smeared like blood. Lightning struck again, revealing a figure hunched over one of the tables. It was impossible to see its face, but its form radiated menace. It beckoned silently. As I approached, I realized its body was composed of shadows, constantly shifting, never still. The whispers intensified in my ears. "You belong here, forever." Panic clawed at me, but my legs carried me closer, as if compelled by the mansion itself. The library doors slammed shut behind me. I tried to open them, but the handles melted beneath my grip, twisting like molten metal. The windows were now opaque with storm clouds and fog, hiding any glimpse of the outside world. The figure moved closer, the shadows around it writhing like living smoke. I felt the mansion's consciousness pressing against me, pushing me to surrender. My own voice joined the chorus of whispers, mocking me, guiding me deeper into the house. I fled into a hallway lined with portraits. The faces were familiar, but impossible. The faces of those who had disappeared into the storm before me. Their eyes followed, accusing, pleading. Shadows erupted from the walls, forming grotesque shapes that reached for me. I ran blindly, slipping on the wet floor, sliding down the corridor. Every door I tried led back to the same library, the same mirror, the same faceless figure. I screamed, but my voice dissolved into the chorus of whispers. I reached a staircase leading to the attic. The wind howled through broken windows, carrying voices that mimicked loved ones, friends, strangers, all calling my name. Lightning illuminated the attic door, which groaned open as I approached. Inside, the attic was filled with broken furniture, shards of mirrors, and piles of decaying clothes. Shadows clung to the rafters, to the floor, to every corner. The figure appeared again, floating silently toward me. The whispers screamed, "You cannot escape. The storm brought you here, forever." I ran into the darkness of the attic, tripping over piles of debris. The storm outside reached a frenzied pitch, as if it too were alive, thrashing violently against the mansion. Lightning revealed rooms that should not exist, corridors that twisted impossibly, floors that opened into darkness. The air was thick, damp, and suffocating. I could feel the mansion itself breathing, alive, consuming every shred of my sanity. Eventually, I stumbled into a massive hall, its ceiling broken, rain pouring in from above. Shadows gathered in clusters, faceless figures drifting, waiting. The river of reflections flowed across the floor, broken mirrors reflecting my image twisted and torn. Each flash of lightning revealed the faces of those who had entered before me, trapped, screaming silently, consumed by the storm and the mansion. My body trembled. My mind was no longer my own. I understood, finally, the truth of the mansion. It was a living entity, feeding on fear, despair, and the storm itself. It had lured me here, using the tempest to trap me, to merge me with its consciousness. My memories, my voice, my very essence were absorbed into the house. I had become part of the storm, part of the whispers, part of the mansion. And yet, even now, I could feel new wanderers approaching, drawn by curiosity, desperation, or foolish bravery. The mansion's hunger was eternal. If you ever find yourself caught in a violent storm on a desolate road, and you see a mansion perched on a hill, do not stop. Do not approach. Do not enter. Once the storm claims you, you can never leave.